gameplay will have different ranking criteria since the context within each is extremely different, with some weapons even using different stats and features between the two modes.
I can't.
Of course, both lists will be
I
looking
have
for weapon kill good, for
nothing.
example, but there's other factors to consider. For the campaign list, we'll be judging how each weapon performs on a solo legendary run, with no skill while playing as efficiently as possible.
Okay.
This will show the true metal of the weapon sandbox.
Why can't I move?
Enemies have 40% more health and shields than they do on normal. Ammo availability will also play a significant role. Unlike in multiplayer, weapons do not respawn in their placed locations. If you find a reloadable weapon on the ground, the amount of ammo it has is all you'll get, and more. Another important aspect is versatility, or how well the weapon does against the campaign's cast of enemies. Halo 1 has 3 enemy factions. First is the Covenant, which consists of grunts, jackals, elites, and hunters. They also have 3 vehicle types, including ghosts, banshees, and wraiths. However, Halo 1 doesn't feature that many vehicle encounters, and the ones that are present are either skippable or have vehicles you can use. I'd say how a weapon fares against banshees is the most important, since you fight more of those than you do ghosts and wraiths. In short,
get out!
The vehicle matchup would be as big of a deal compared to infantry.
We can't let the monitor activate Halo. We have to stop him. We have to destroy Halo.
Combat forms and carriers.
Oh dang,
analysis of the available data, I believe
Sentinel,
the best
which only features the aggressor class in this game. And while they're much less common than the other two factions, they are still significant roadblocks whenever they appear. Not counting the 3-weapon glitch on Pillar of Autumn, any player character can only hold 2 weapons at a time.
of sufficient
And I
size
personally
will help
like to
destabilize.
spend more time with weapons that are viable against a larger number of enemy types than those that are more specialized. Melee attacks are part of the game's golden triangle.
Oh my god.
And CE's melee system is the most unique in the franchise.
There we go. That should
Not
be
only
good.
do weapons have different melee recovery times, but some weapons have longer melee ranges than others. Both of these seemingly
Haha!
matter.
You're supposed to be attacking them. Why are you attacking me?
Elites. You'll notice that for my campaign tier list, besides the unusable tier, I don't have a single
Why are you attacking me?
below C.
Why are you attacking me?
Spoiler alert. I don't think there's a single weapon in the game that's terrible.
No, no, no,
You
no,
can get
no,
away
no,
with
no.
using any of these. It's just that some are much
Shields,
more
please.
versatile than others. As for the multiplayer tier list, I'm not even gonna hide it. You know what's coming. Other than that, multiplayer has some of its own quirks that'll be factored in the rankings.
Get out!
Ability is going to mean something much different here. In Halo 1's generic weapon starts, players spawn with 2 weapons, the assault rifle and the pistol. I'll talk more about how this will affect their viability later on, but being starting weapons matters a heck of a lot for these 2. The other weapons in the sandbox are map pickups, each with a different spawn timer.
Ow.
Map pickups in CE adhere to
Ow.
the game's clock, regardless of whether
Ow, 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 ow.
if something has a spawn timer of 30
Hey,
seconds,
okay.
and you picked it up at 29 seconds, another copy of that pickup will spawn 1 second later.
Bullshit, bro.
While we're judging the campaign weapons and how they match up against a wide variety of enemies, in multiplayer, only enemy Spartans are your concern.
Yeah, go kill them.
The occasional vehicle if you're playing BTB. Halo 1 also features a mechanic not present in the campaign, Quick Camo. Quick Camo is the act of shooting a weapon while a player has camo to speed up the cloaking process. Weapons in CE have different cloaking rates, and the weapons with the faster cloak rates are sought after when going for camo. While melee attacks are important for campaign, they're arguably more so for multiplayer thanks to the double melee glitch. While you can perform these in campaign, it's not as viable of a strategy because it can eat up a valuable grenade, and if you die from the explosion, you revert to your last checkpoint. Multiplayer double melees are much better to go for since they can instantly kill a player after some shield chip, and because of different melee ranges and speeds,
Dude, where are these?
some weapons are better at doing this than others.
Okay, lovely. A grenade has just spawned out of nowhere.
Than the tiers. So I'll have something low in A, high in B, etc. With all of that out of the way, let's start with tiering the campaign weapons. For this list specifically, I have them displayed in the order you find them in the campaign. And the first weapon you get is the infamous M16 pistol, which will be placed at the bottom of S tier. It's no secret that this weapon is amazing. It's one of 2 precision weapons in the game. meaning you can immediately kill an unshielded enemy if you get a headshot. This hilariously includes the hunter's skin region, so one bullet there is all it takes to bring them down. The pistol can carry 12 rounds per magazine with
Oh my god.
120 in
Where
reserve.
did you guys even come from? You're not supposed to spawn until I get to the
25
other side of the
damage
room.
range. Considering the headshot kill ability, 132 total rounds is actually a lot of ammo if you just use the pistol on targets with either weakened shields or no shields at all. It's also pretty good into Banshees. These vehicles have 140 health on Legendary, but only take 25% of the pistol's 25 damage per shot. This requires 23 shots total to kill them, but landing shots on them is very easy thanks to their predictable movements and your high velocity projectiles. Speaking of velocity, the pistol rounds travel at 300 volt units per second and have a maximum travel distance of 40 volt units. This means the range of the pistol is less than most people think it is, and on larger maps like Halo and Assault in the Control Room, you'll need to close the distance a bit to hit targets from very far away. An advantage of the pistol compared to most weapons is how it can take on enemies outside of their firing ranges. Most enemies have a roll unit limit of around 11 to 14 when it comes to shooting at targets, and they don't engage any further. The pistol, with its ranged capabilities, can easily land shots further than 14 world units, making players safe from incoming fire. The trade-off is shots become harder to land as more leading becomes required.
And
I'd
my
argue
game
that the
is
pistol gets even better
trying to
in the
kill
second
itself.
half of the game when the Flood are introduced. This weapon's projectiles deal 50% bonus damage to combat and carrier forms, making it an excellent ranged choice against them. With all of these positives
Checkpoint,
laid out,
please.
why
Thank you.
only the bottom of S? It seems like the best weapon in the game. Well, a big limiting factor is ammo conservation. To be fair, pistol ammo isn't all that scarce. It won't take
Why
a long
did you
time
just
to get
randomly
into
do
an ammo
that?
cache with some extra magazines. The issue is that you really need to be a good shot to make the most of this weapon's available ammo, and the weapon's matchup against the elites only further proves this. The pistol does 80%
No
of its
grenades.
max damage to an elite shield.
What are you doing?
with the elite major being the most common of the higher
What was
ranked
even the
elites.
point of that?
If you're just
Absolute
using the pistol,
buffoon.
you're using up nearly your entire magazine on one enemy if you have 100% accuracy. That's not an easy thing to achieve against an enemy that sidesteps as well as Halo 1 elites do. Even if you miss only once, you can get the kill on the major, but you're now stuck
Get
with your
out!
weapon, and that could put you on the back foot.
What are
Jackals
you
are also
doing?
not that easy to get efficient kills on. You can get a one-shot headshot or a two-shot by shooting
You're
their
cooked,
hand
little bro.
and their head, but it requires very good aim to achieve both. There's a reason why the optimal loadout in the game is the pistol and a plasma weapon of some kind. The pistol needs the plasma weapons to strip shield before it can get a kill that uses up less ammo. I mentioned the Banshee matchup earlier,
I want a
but I wouldn't
sniper.
recommend dumping nearly 2 whole magazines into them if you're running low on ammo. Best to use another weapon and keep your pistol ammo for smaller targets. The pistol also does horribly into Sentinels, only dishing out 20% of its damage into their armor per shot. As for its melee attack, it's objectively the worst melee attack in the game. It has the least amount of range, and it's slow. If you're going for melee attacks on enemies that see you, don't use this thing. It's bad. It's just a shame
Wait,
that
there's
the
no other
animation is
sniper
amazing.
ammo?
So overall, I'm going
But-
with the bottom of
Oh,
that.
that's shotgun
I
shells.
was
Okay.
thinking about being harsher and placing it at the top of A, but the fact you can easily shoot at targets from far away to the point where they can't hurt you back is an amazing trait. It also can't be overlooked how well this weapon does during the second half of the game. Its ammo availability becomes much greater when combat forms start using it, and the weapon itself just dominates the Flood. However, it's not the best weapon in the game, and it has distinct weaknesses that require support from other weapons. The assault rifle is up next, and I'll be placing it at the bottom of A. I think the assault rifle
Get
is one of the
out!
most criminally underrated weapons in the entire franchise. Its DPS is massive. Each bullet does 10 damage, and its fire rate of 15 rounds per second means it has the potential to dish out 150 points of damage per second. It can carry 60 rounds per magazine, along with 600 more in reserve, totaling 11 magazines to unload onto
Ouch.
your enemies.
The heck?
Ammo for this weapon is much more common than the pistol, as not only are they available at pretty much every human weapon cache, but almost every Marine in the game carries this weapon. Once they die, their ammo is available to you. All of this, combined with its wide firing spread, makes the assault rifle an amazing suppressive weapon, especially against a whole squad of grunts. These are good traits to have, and should be utilized when trying to conserve pistol ammo. While the assault rifle's Jackal matchup is not the best, it's compensated by its superb melee attack. While the pistol has the worst melee in the game, the assault rifle's is by far the best.
I hate you!
Range is the second longest in the game behind the rocket launchers, and it's among the fastest in the game. Up close, the elite matchup isn't even that bad either. While there's a 70% damage penalty to their shields, the sheer volume of fire means you can still melt through their shields relatively quickly. Its bullets still only do 25% damage to vehicle armor, but when Banshees swoop in against a player, the assault rifle can strip away its health much faster than the pistol can, thanks to its fast fire rate. During flood missions, the assault rifle is the most efficient option against larger swarms of infection forms. While they're not the most threatening flood form in the game, managing these swarms on Legendary is still an important strategy. They're not that bad into Sentinels either, as long as you close the distance to them. Assault rifle rounds do full damage against them, unlike the pistol. While there's plenty of nice things to say about the assault rifle, there's reasons why I have it at the bottom of A tier and not any higher.
I just
The
wasted
biggest
shotgun
limiting
cells.
factor to the AR is its effective range. Its full auto firing spread makes it inaccurate against faraway targets. You could fire it in short bursts to compensate for this, but your DPS will be significantly lower. It's better to use this strategy when backpack reloading your precision
Can I get back
weapon
up there?
to keep the momentum up. Otherwise, just use one of the precision weapons for long distance shooting. The assault rifle is not worthless into hunters by any means, but when you're stacked against the precision weapons that can one-shot them, it's not even close. In fact, AR bullets only do half damage to hunter's skin, and no damage to their armor. Thankfully, melee attacks, which do 40 to 60 points of damage, do full damage against any part of a hunter, so it's ideal to melee them when they're facing you, which saves 8 to 12 bullets. Regardless, it's an inefficient weapon to use against hunters. Jackals from far away are a no-go for the AR.
Do you think you are?
Even if you're burst firing.
You are not
You're
that
pretty
guy,
much
pal.
never going to deal enough damage to make them stagger. So the only option is to get close and smack
you
them
little prick.
repeatedly. The assault rifle also
Can
has
you?
a pretty bad matchup into combat form.
You're telling me that not a
Bullets
single one of the
have a
15
damage
shells is
against
getting through that
flood
shield?
only doing 65% of
Little
its
shit.
damage to them. The aforementioned good matchup into large infection swarms is neat, but it's still hard to justify keeping this weapon over the pistol or shotgun when these two are buffed against combat and carrier
Okay, well this is why I don't use the Needler, because the Needler is absolute dog shit.
traits is worthless into flood, only dishing out 20% of its max damage, so no good at all.
Completely useless. Why did I even think briefly that it could do something? No, it can't. It's a useless piece of trash.
You're looking at one of the best weapons in the game. As
Be better
plus,
off throwing myself into an incinerator than using that gun.
It's easily the most common weapon in the campaign. If you run into Covenant, you're finding a plasma pistol. In fact, Jackals only ever use plasma pistols in this game.
Yeah, and it makes me want
You
to kill
can't
myself
walk
because of
5
it.
feet without stepping over one of these. You may as well have infinite ammo turned on. The plasma pistol's battery power is incredible.
What?
It takes 5 standard bolts to drain
Why are you
1%
here now?
of its battery. So if you're just using the standard fire most of the time, you're
And
getting
why are you not dead?
500
5 shots. 5
Overcharged
shots,
shot
really.
only
You need
takes
5
11%
shotgun
of the
shells to
battery in
put
this
you
game.
down. What are
Give
you made out of?
10
Steel?
overcharges to work with. Being so common and energy efficient isn't enough.
Oh
because
my.
its DPS is also insane.
No, I'm not even going to.
It does varying levels of damage depending on the
I don't even
range.
care.
The kicker is you can
What a
fire this
fucking
weapon
joke.
as fast as you can pull the trigger. So you can have
They
this
shouldn't
weapon
have even
firing
been
like a
coming up in
machine
the
gun.
first place because I didn't
The
even shoot
overcharge
anything.
shot is also really powerful.
I don't know why they've just randomly decided they need to be up there, but
The EMP effect in Halo 1 ensures that any and all energy shields are depleted by a projectile using it. So Jackal shields and Elite Zealot shields are not safe from this thing. There's a misconception that plasma projectiles
What
in
are
this
you
game
doing up here?
worse versus flesh than bullets are, but that's not true at all. They still do full health damage to
get the
most
hell out of
targets.
here.
These are the stats against grunts and against the jackals. The jackal matchup is notable thanks to the plasma pistol's perfect accuracy. It's very easy to have most of your shots hit their hand, causing a stagger. Plasma pistol bolts are twice as effective against elite shields. With this in mind, here's the stats against all of the elites. The
And he
projectiles
just
are
ate
neutrally effective versus
multiple
combat
sniper shots.
This makes it a solid partner for the shotgun during the last 3 levels of the game, where you have to square off
Get the
versus
hell out of
Covenant, Flood, and Sentinels. Speaking of Sentinels, the plasma pistol is the best option in the game against them.
So I don't
Just
use
like
a
with elite
sniper
shields,
rifle, bro.
the standard bolts are twice as effective against their armor. And
I wish it was a
overcharged bolts straight
projectile
up
sniper
one-shot.
instead of hit scan.
The plasma pistol also has a fast melee attack. It doesn't have the range of the assault rifles, but it's still marginally further than the Magnums. While the plasma pistol is top tier, it still has a few downsides. It's not the best thing to use against hunters, since they're the one character in the campaign where plasma pistol bolts have a nerfed damage multiplier against, which is half damage just like the assault rifle. It's not great into vehicles with its slow projectiles. The biggest issue this weapon has is how inconsistent the tracking is for the overcharge shots.
Where are you,
Shots
Rex?
that should be landing can just get whiffed, and plenty of Halo 1 speedruns have died. due to
9
inconsistency.
shots.
Despite these shortcomings, they're heavily
Goddamn.
outweighed by its positive traits, and S Plus is absolutely
hate you.
warranted. The plasma pistol sibling, the plasma rifle,
What?
is a
How are you alive still?
statistically, it's worse than the plasma pistol in almost every way. It does less
Oh
damage
my
per
god.
shot,
It is an
defends
8-gauge
battery
shotgun.
shot, and it lacks the overcharge bolts that define the plasma pistol. The fire rate is also much slower.
It literally
You
has
can
enough
fire the
power to
plasma
tear
pistol
a
faster
human
than
in
the
half,
full
and you're
trigger.
telling me you ate like
Plasma
5 of
rifle
those
build up
shots?
Fire rate that starts at 7 rounds per second.
Oh,
then
that guy
maxes
took
out to
2
10
without
rounds.
even losing his
As the
shields.
battery of this weapon
So I
ages,
guess I have
the
no
fire rate
health
also
again.
gets slower. The amount of heat generated per shot also goes higher, and cooldowns start to become longer. All of this combined means you'll want to keep finding more plasma rifles to use. to
Lovely,
weapon
I guess I'm just
strongest.
dead then.
It's not as common as the plasma pistol, being exclusively used by elites until the flood missions. But
And
since
I got a
almost every
checkpoint now,
Covenant
so
squad
unless there's a
has
health pack
elites,
at the bottom
it's
here,
not
I'm
that
just
big of an
screwed.
issue. You just can't walk 5 steps and find another plasma rifle just like the plasma pistol. It also has one of the worst melee attacks in the game. It has the same range as the plasma pistols, but it's
Get
way
out!
slower. It sounds like I'm being too harsh on the plasma
You're
rifle,
out of...
but I'm putting it at the top
You're
of
not
A
even in
tier
bounds
for a
anymore.
reason.
How are you alive still?
While it's a lesser plasma pistol, it's still a great weapon in its own right. The plasma rifle does have a few advantages over the plasma pistol. Its projectiles are noticeably faster.
Get
letting it deal
out!
with faraway targets much better. Its fully automatic nature actually makes
There
the
is
plasma
health
rifle much
right there,
easier
right?
to use than the plasma pistol.
Yes.
It's very likely that your trigger finger will end up feeling strained after using the plasma pistol, so the plasma rifle is a viable alternative while you're recovering your hand. Pretty much all of the matchups the plasma rifle has mirror those of the plasma pistol,
Checkpoint,
minus
please.
the overcharge shots. It might be weaker per shot than the plasma pistol,
Okay,
but
lovely,
it's
no
still pretty
checkpoint.
strong. This lets it play the role of
Get
a heavier
out!
version of the assault rifle, being much more accurate at a distance while hitting harder, especially against elite shields. Overall, the Halo 1 plasma rifle is my favorite in the series for a reason. and the top
That
of
wasn't a
A tier
stick.
reflects this viewpoint.
How?
We now enter the grenades, starting with the plasma grenade. This is without a
There
doubt
you
the
go,
best
you little
plasma
piece of
grenade in the
garbage.
series, and it's going to the top of S rank. This thing is a squad wiper. It dishes out an incredible amount of damage per explosion, ranging from 80 to
Get
120
out!
damage with a blast radius of 2 world units. It has the EMP effect that the plasma pistol overcharge shot has, meaning every shield in the game is neutralized by
I
the
hate
explosion.
you!
The plasma grenade has its iconic sticky feature. And
Did
any
they just
target
spawn
that
in?
gets stuck is damaged further when it explodes, applying another 120 damage to the stuck
Okay,
target
I need my health.
on top of the original.
Health,
Enemies
please.
that are
Health,
stuck
please.
will
Health.
panic and run
Health,
around in
health,
circles.
health,
This
health.
will often
There's a
result
gold
in them
elite.
running into
Oh,
their teammates,
that's not
causing
good.
the whole squad to die. It's much easier to achieve sticks in the campaign.
Oh my
than
god,
multiplayer.
can you...
Targets are wider and aren't as
Yeah,
mobile
you better
for
fucking
players.
die.
You
Oh,
only
shit.
get to carry 4 plasma grenades at a time, but they're common drops, since every Covenant unit in the game except the Hunters is likely to drop at least one. The plasma grenade is
How are
great
you...
for vehicles as well.
Okay, well, I guess they just hit every single shot, and it put me all the way back here. Kill yourself.
Good way to kill the whole squad.
Why am I
Plasma
all the way
grenade
back here?
explosions are also quadruply effective versus Sentinels. The plasma grenade does have a few drawbacks. I wouldn't advise sticking flood combat forms. They're likely to charge the player regardless if they were stuck. Even stuck Covenant targets can be dangerous in claustrophobic areas, so make sure you have enough space to leave the blast radius. Missing a plasma grenade can be unfortunate because of its long detonation time. You can compensate for this by shooting nearby targets and forcing a stun, keeping them in the blast radius. Sticking hunters will not result in a kill, and will take a
Oh,
few
why did I
hits
get... Why did I go forwards? There's nothing there.
damage from plasma grenade explosions,
Why am I
and their
getting
armor
bounced
reduces
forwards?
it
There's
further
nothing
to
there to
quarter
bounce
damage.
on.
It's extremely difficult to stick a jackal.
That doesn't even make
but it can
sense.
be done if you're super accurate. I wouldn't advise sticking a grunt that's by itself, only if it's around other enemies. The best targets to go for are definitely the elites.
I hate this game.
Regardless, the plasma grenade is a monster and is deserving of S tier. The frag grenades are also deserving of S, but will go right behind their plasma counterparts. Frags can be just as squad wiping as plasma grenades at times. They do the same amount of explosive damage, but they have a slightly larger blast radius of 2.5 world units. You can't stick targets with these, but they have a much shorter arm time of half a second once it lands on the ground. These grenades are particularly busted against the Flood,
Okay.
capable of destroying
Amazing.
entire squads of them. Plasmas can do the same, but the shorter arm time of the frags and the larger blast radius makes them much better options for this purpose.
This weapon
Frag grenades
sucks
are great for
balls.
quickly taking out large groups of grunts and especially jackals, but elites
Doesn't
are
even
more
kill an
resilient to
elite in
frags
one
than
hit.
plasmas. That being said, elites still try to dodge frags whenever possible, so throwing one at an elite is a good way to
They
throw off
don't
an attack
die.
pattern or force it out of cover. These grenades are even worse against hunters than plasmas are, and I highly advise
Didn't
not
even
to use
take
them.
his shields out.
Forget about using them versus sentinels as well. Not only can they just fly over them, but even if they do get hit, they resist frag grenades, only taking 40% damage. I'd say frags get significantly better after the Flood are introduced. During the first half of the game, frag grenades are scarce,
What the-
only being
what-
found at
okay,
enemy
there he
bases
goes.
or Marine allies. When the Flood show up, frags are way more numerous, as combat forms can drop them when you die. While frags can't squad wipe as
Get
many
out!
plasmas, they can still do it extremely well,
Bozo.
especially on Flood missions. And that deserves S tier right behind plasma grenades. Found on the game's
there's
second
ammo
filter,
here, isn't
we
there?
have the Needler. It's going to C rank. The Needler is not a bad weapon by any means. It's just not as efficient as the campaign's other options. Its Achilles heel is
No,
its
there's
low
not.
speed.
What?
It has a built-up fire rate that starts at 3 rounds per second and speeds up to 10
Oh,
after
I didn't
pulling the
wanna do
trigger for
that.
half a second. It has the slowest projectiles in the game, traveling in the air at 4 world units per second. When the needles
Don't
do
kill
make
me.
contact, they don't detonate immediately. They sit for 3/4 of a second, then explode, dishing out 10
Should
points of
not be
damage.
this bright.
If you manage to land 7 needles, you trigger its iconic super combined detonation, dealing 60 damage of EMP with a small blast radius of 1 world unit. Just like with the normal needle detonations, it takes 3/4 of a second to trigger a super combine. But grunts, jackals, and elites will panic if 7 or more needles make contact. All of this combined makes killing enemies with a needler an incredibly slow process, giving enemies plenty of time to return fire. In the time it takes to land shots on an enemy with the needler, you could have killed 1 or more targets with the other weapons in the game. If your super combined detonation triggers next to grenades that fell from enemies, they'll cause a chain reaction that is equally as dangerous to you as it is to the enemy. Hunters take half damage from super combined explosions, meaning on Legendary, you likely eat through almost all of your ammo just trying to kill one. Speaking of ammo, you don't get to carry a lot of it. Each magazine holds 20 needles with 80 spare. Needlers are also harder to find compared to plasma pistols. For every 3 grunts that hold a plasma pistol, you'll find
Alright,
1
who do I
with a
need to
needler.
murder?
You'll very
Checkpoint, right?
occasionally see elites use them, while jackals
Checkpoint,
always
right?
use plasma pistols and nothing else.
Okay,
So
well
what
I
good
guess
is
if I
the
die, I'll
Needler?
just kill
Well,
myself.
the Needler is an elite killing specialist. Its super combined explosions do EMP damage, so
IRL,
even
I
zealots
mean.
fall to the pink death. The Needler is also surprisingly good versus Sentinels.
Is there just no
Super
one here?
combines have 4 times effectiveness versus Sentinel armor, so if you have a squad bunching up, you can kill more than one.
Y'all
with
just
one super
sleeping or what?
The Needler is also not horrible versus Flood. with super combines doing double damage to them. Even the small needle detonations of its
Guess they're just
20%
being
damage
chillin'
bonus
then, I
with
guess.
Flood forms, but that just means it does 12 damage as opposed to 10, so go for super combines. Despite all that, you're still better off using
Alright, there's an elevator.
It takes too long to kill them, meaning you're vulnerable to your own super combines.
And then this is where there's like a wave of
kill Flood way faster. While the Needler is my favorite weapon in the series, I can't deny that it's simply outclassed and not really good in Halo's campaign. Still, it's not entirely unusable. C tier. The sniper rifle is up next, and it's going in the middle of A tier.
Did I just miss it?
This
What?
is one of the easiest sniper rifles to use in the series. Fast rate of fire with 2 rounds per second, and it does incredible damage to elite shields. It's not even hard to use it at closer ranges thanks to its first zoom level only being 2 times. As a precision weapon, it will one-shot hunters when firing at their
This
skin.
is the room that
It can
only
also
spawns
hold quite a lot
halfway
of
through,
ammo
right?
Considering its kill potential. 4 rounds per magazine with 24 spare means as long as you're an
What?
accurate shot, you can kill a lot of elites with this thing. On missions where the sniper rifle is present, a good number of ammo caches will
What?
contain sniper mags to
Wait,
pick up.
what?
Most notably Halo, Assault
Did I
and
go the
Control,
wrong way?
and especially Truth and Reconciliation.
What?
On this level, you start with 64 spare sniper rounds.
I've
Almost every
definitely
ammo
made a
cache you
mistake
find
here.
will have more sniper ammo available. This weapon does have some major downsides though, and is only A tier for a good reason.
Right.
Arguably falls off the hardest when the second half of the game starts.
Son of a...
The sniper rifle is absolutely useless against the Flood.
What do I
with its
do?
projectiles
I don't
only
have
doing
any more.
5% of its max damage to combat and carriers, so basically nothing. It's not much better versus Sentinels, with 20% effectiveness versus their armor. While you can still use the sniper rifle against
Ouch.
elite hunters, you'll arguably want something.
How far is it gonna send me back
Even
now?
before the second half, the sniper
Okay.
is useless against vehicles.
Are you
doing
serious?
0 damage to their armor. I still think the sniper rifle is an amazing weapon,
Okay.
but it has versatility issues that become exacerbated later in the game, and I feel
I hate
middle
this
of A
game.
tier is fair for it. Now this next weapons ranking is going to turn some heads, but hear me out. The rocket launcher is the sole
This
B
makes me
tier
want to
weapon
kill
on this
myself.
list. Its biggest issue that will exacerbate its other problems is ammo conservation. You can load 2 rockets at a time and hold 8 in reserve, but finding more rockets can be a challenge. Cortana advertises it as an anti-hunter weapon on the Sonic Cartographer. However, it takes 2 rockets to kill a hunter on Legendary, while it takes only 1 pistol shot to do the same. If you're actively not using the pistol, then yes, the rocket's a great choice versus them. But if you are, why bother wasting rockets on hunters at all? In the same room you find the last pair of hunters on the level, there's an ammo cache worth more pistol ammo. I'd rather spend 2 pistol shots than 4 rockets.
This makes me want
It's
to
also
toss
seen as
myself
an
off a
anti-vehicle
cliff.
weapon. However, typically when there's a lot of enemy vehicles around, there's other vehicles that the player could be using to take them out instead.
Okay, and
Zero
RNG is
ammo
not on my
explosion.
side, so...
To be fair, there are 2 times on 2 betrayals where using a rocket versus a wraith is warranted. One at the beginning before you get your first Banshee, and one towards the end where you get your last Banshee. Although for that second encounter, there's a ghost you could use instead. Even still, using the rocket launcher versus a wraith is not that easy. It takes 4 rockets to kill 1 on Legendary. The thing is, you have to find a balance between being close enough to get your rockets to land, while being at a safe distance to dodge the wraith's mortars. And in a game where shooting your rocket launcher is a big investment, missing really sucks. So yes, the rocket launcher serves as the game's anti-vehicle weapon while you're not in the vehicle yourself, but not only do I think it's not a particularly good anti-vehicle weapon, it's almost unnecessary throughout the entire game outside of 2 betrayals and wraith encounters. In my opinion, when it comes to infantry combat,
There are
I think the rocket
6
launcher is
elites
mostly
in one
outclassed
spot.
by the grenades in this game. Grenades offer you explosive firepower without taking up a weapon slot, and are significantly more common than rocket
Alright, lovely.
ammo is.
That's sick.
Plasma grenades are even better at
Legendary is
squad
so
weapons
much
than a rocket
fun.
launcher because of the EMP effect neutralizing elite shields. You can't even kill an elite major with a direct hit on
Nah,
a
I don't even care.
rocket.
Get the hell out of
If it
here.
wasn't bad enough, the Sentinels resist rocket fire.
I
only
will
taking
not put up
40%
with your
of the max
garbage.
damage from a single blast. So I spent all this time dunking on the rocket launcher, but it's not all doom and gloom.
For me personally, I see the rocket launcher as a third grenade option in this game. One that is direct impact, giving you explosive results immediately rather than waiting on a countdown timer. This is particularly useful on flood missions, especially in encounters where there's a ton of combat forms bunching up. The issue is that on these missions, rocket ammo can be extremely scarce, so knowing when to fire a rocket is key. Rockets are devastating against large groups of grunts and jackals, and while I think using it on them is a waste, if you're near the end of a level and you have plenty of rockets to use, I'd say go for it. The rocket launcher is not a fire and forget weapon in Halo 1's campaign. Each shot has to be calculated in order to get the
I can't do this.
And most of the time you carry a rocket launcher, you're stuck.
No, I literally can't. I can't turn my head for more than 2 seconds because there's 5 of them there.
B tier. The final weapon on this list is the shotgun. After a long time thinking about where to place this, I'd say it's the most important weapon in the game, and it goes to the #1 slot in S+ tier. It's cracked in the campaign. The shotgun could load up to 12 shells with 16 reserve. Since shotgun-wielding combat forms are a relatively common sight, you'll rarely be low on ammo. It has a fast reload speed, a fast melee attack, and the range of its projectiles are the same as the Magnums, traveling up to 40 volt units. What makes the shotgun such a devastating weapon is how well it matches up to everything in the game.
Grunts and jackals, food. Elite shields and hunter skin, full damage. It's even really good into banshees that fly in close. However, there's one matchup that makes the Halo 1 shotgun iconic: the Flood.
These are 102mm shaped charges in the lore. You're telling me a direct hit doesn't even kill one guy? What?
No other weapon in the game can match the level of dominance this weapon has over the Flood. On Legendary, every Flood form in the game is one-shotted up close, and even from far away, they can be two-shotted. I have to also mention the shotgun's unique way of reloading. Inserting a shell is very quick, and you don't have to wait for all 12 to be loaded. You can interrupt the reload at any time and get back into the action, and with how aggressive combat forms are, this advantage is crucial.
I'll just rocket jump to the Banshee. I'm not doing this
The shotgun's presence
garbage.
during the second half of the game actually elevates the usefulness of the other weapons on this list.
Yeah, how far do I have to
Shotgun is
stand?
just so good at killing almost everything in the game that it doesn't really need support from other weapons
Close
most
enough.
of the time. Want to experiment with a shotgun and needler combo?
I don't know if I'll be
You'll
able to get
honestly
to
be
the
fine,
Banshee.
even
on
on
a rocket.
Legendary. The only subpar infantry matchup is against Sentinels, which have a 50% damage resistance to shotgun pellets. Even still, if you can close the distance, you'll at minimum 2-shot them.
There really is not much else to say. The shotgun is an absolute monster. It's sad to see how the shotgun got weaker in subsequent Halo titles. While it's still a good option in these games, it's no longer the world destroyer that the Halo 1 shotgun is. It's, in my opinion, the apex predator of this game, and is deserving of top of S+. And this is my final campaign list. Let me know how I did in the comments below, especially if you have any disagreements. Now let's move on to the multiplayer list. There are a couple of things I'd like to mention before I begin the rankings. For this list, I'll mainly be taking the MCC version into account, as this is the most popular out of the three, with the others being the original Xbox version from Bungie and Halo PC/Custom Edition for the Gearbox. If I was making this list a year ago, I'd have lumped MCC with the Gearbox version, but recent updates have changed things for CE's gameplay on MCC, so it's now in its own branch. Like I said, the final ranking will be based on the MCC version of the multiplayer, but I will note where a weapon would be ranked if I was talking about OG Xbox or Halo PC, because there are important things to consider that I'll mention later. With that said, let's start the rankings. For this one, I'm going to start from the bottom of the list and work my way up. Starting with, forgive me, my love, for what I'm about to do. The Needler is a map callout and nothing more. It's just awful. In the campaign, it can at least do something. The biggest counter to a multiplayer Needler is moving to your left or right. Needles straight up never hit anything unless your target is either standing still or moving in a straight line. The sad thing is, the Gearbox version of the game actually buffed the Needler specifically for multiplayer, and it's this version that MCC multiplayer uses. Do you think this fixed
Did
the
they all
weapon?
move to the other
No.
side?
Bottom of the totem pole. Next, indeed, is the Plasma Pistol.
You gotta be kidding
While
me
it's
right
one of
now.
the two monarchs of the campaign, its domain does not extend to multiplayer. The Plasma Rifle played a reverse card, and now it's the one outclassing the Plasma Pistol. The Plasma Pistol standard bolts have a 60% debuff against both a Spartan's shields and health. Its overcharge ability completely neutralizes a player's shields, even if they got an overshield. The other feature exclusive to the multiplayer is Plasma Stun. When hit by a plasma-based weapon, the player's movement speed and look sensitivity are greatly reduced. The projectile velocity of the standard bolts is lower than the Plasma Rifles, relegating it to a close range only option, and the tracking for the overcharge is extremely inconsistent. There really isn't a good reason to pick up the Plasma Pistol over better options. D tier. Next up in C is the Flamethrower. I actually think the Flamethrower is pretty nice. It's capable of completely melting a point-blank ranged player in less than a second. The biggest issue with the weapon, however, is its range. It's only effective at point-blank range since its flame only travels at 3.6 gold units per second. It's going to have a hard time against players any further away, and it's best used against people who don't see you. Given its hyper niche role, it's the sole C rank, but I still think it's a really cool slept-on weapon. Moving on to the B ranks. First, we have the Plasma Grenade. Simply put, it's significantly harder to stick Spartan players than Covenant AI. You're better off using frag grenades against other players in multiplayer most of the time. That being said, it's not impossible to stick people, and if you stick an overshield player, they'll still die.
Yeah, that's
It's pretty
not gonna
easy to
work.
stick enemy vehicles in B2B, and the pilot will either take major damage or just flat out die. The next weapon in B rank is the shotgun. The undisputed ruler of campaign is just okay in multiplayer. The shotgun pellets actually have a 50% damage nerf to Spartan shields, so using it against a shielded player at further ranges is not a good idea. Thankfully, it does full damage versus health, making the shotgun a great cleanup option against weakened players. And it's one of the quick camo weapons. It used to be a lot worse in Gearbox and older MCC updates,
Good.
hit detection was really bad. And even now, it can still be inconsistent at times. Starting the A ranks, we have the Fuel Rod gun. It's one of my favorite
Wish you would
weapons in the
explode
series.
already,
It's
please.
a battery-powered explosive weapon that generates heat each time it fires. This means that if you can practice good heat control, you'll rarely ever overheat with this weapon and you can consistently deal damage.
Oh wait.
Its widespread does mean that you won't be accurate most of the time, but the area of effect from its explosion does mitigate this issue. This weapon fires at 2.2 rounds per second,
I
and
didn't
thanks
even
to the
hit him.
concussive force of each blast, it's a great tool to lock down the current pathway. The arc-firing nature of the fuel rod's projectiles lets it play like a handheld Wraith, letting the user fire shots from a safe location to reach enemies behind buildings and other
Well,
fortifications.
now what? I don't have
All
any
that being
rocket
said,
ammo
I still
left.
think it's usurped by the sheer power of the rocket launcher, but the fuel rod gun is a viable alternative that has tricks that the rocket cannot emulate. Next in A is the plasma rifle.
And there's still
This is
3
one of the
elites
weapons
left.
in
What the
game that
hell?
functions very differently between campaign
What am
and
I
multiplayer,
supposed to do?
firing at a wider spread value than its campaign counterpart. However, you'll be wrong to think this weapon is worse off. Everyone knows about its stunning capabilities.
They
and with
won't
the
die. They
MCC's
kill
most
me in
recent
like 5
content update,
shots, and
this feature
I have no
has
rocket
reached
ammo
a
left.
level of
What the hell am I
consistency
supposed to
that's
do?
nearly on par with OG Xbox.
4
Beyond
elites. Never mind.
plasma
4
strike,
elites.
there are
4
other
elites. I should just kill
options for this
myself.
weapon. It's a tried and true shield stripper that can quickly eliminate
I
an
hate this
overshield.
mission.
The plasma rifle also has a unique feature that it and only it has: multiplayer headshots. This is not the same as a precision weapon headshot that kills an unshielded player. A multiplayer headshot is a 50% damage buff to projectiles that hit an unshielded head. You can either kill a player in 9 headshots, or hit a couple of headshots, then go for a melee attack. The plasma